sound of morning. Welcoming committee this morning. Welcome to Friday. All the animals out in force today. Off they go. There's always one. Hello, old boy. Enjoy your breakfast. I'm off to have mine. Oh, you almost certainly can't see this. I'm afraid to get closer, but that is a hare. I know that they're considered terrible pests, but as a European, I'm afraid I can't deny it is nice to see some familiar animals. I probably shouldn't admit to that. I'll try and get a bit closer, but I think it's highly likely just to simply run away. There he is, by my oak tree. There were a lot near where I used to live in the Scottish borders, and there's so much myth surrounding hares, fables and legends they feature in. Animals always seem to go behind posts. Oh, damn it, it's hiding behind my hedge now. This is one of my favourite birds that I've discovered here. It's called a wonga pigeon. And they just walk and walk and walk. They're utterly charming. Welcome to Saturday afternoon. Forgive the redness of my face, I've got an acid exfoliator on. That's how it tends to go. Anyway, so Saturday is my half day. I spend the morning doing the housework and then in the afternoon I chill. So there's not really much to report in terms of what I've actually got up to today. I think subjecting you to lawn mowing is bad enough, but I'm not going to subject you to mopping. But I thought that a while ago I had touched on some of the things that I do to help me sleep better at night. Throughout my adult life, I have not slept very well. I've had quite poor quality sleep, and I think that that is common to many of us. And I thought I'd just share some of the things that I do that have helped me. Perhaps they're things that you've tried and they haven't worked for you, but perhaps you haven't tried them and perhaps they will. So as you know, the first thing I do every morning is go for a walk. Based on a programme I had listened to on the BBC, Dr. Michael Mosley's Just One Thing. Do listen to it if you're interested. They're only short, but they can explain the science behind it way better than I can. But I have found that on its own, or perhaps in combination with other things that I've done, it has helped actually. So the idea is that you go for a walk. It doesn't have to be a long walk. Within about the first hour to 2 hours of waking up. So alongside some of the more common things that you can try, like not eating a big meal too close to going to bed, not having caffeine too close to going to bed. I, for example, make a chamomile tea at about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. There are also more unusual things that I've tried that I think have worked that perhaps you've not heard of or have not tried. The first one is putting my legs up on my ceiling in my bedroom about an hour before going to bed, and I do that for about 20 minutes. Now, I know that being able to put my legs up on my bedroom ceiling is something that probably isn't accessible to most people. I've got a very low bedroom ceiling. But I gather just lying on your back and putting your feet up a wall for 20 minutes can help with sleep. And the other thing I do that perhaps is even more weird is I tape my mouth up just before I go to bed. Now, that probably sounds horrific. It almost certainly sounds weird. But one of the reasons that I think I sleep so badly or get poor quality sleep, or at least wake up feeling not very refreshed, is that I have a habit of sleeping with my mouth open. And I'd wake up feeling hugely dehydrated. And I did a bit of research and read some anecdotal stories and thought I'd give it a try. I thought I've got nothing to lose. We happen to have some kinesiology tape in the house, so I cut myself off a strip and put it over my mouth and went to bed. And actually, I woke up and I felt really good. So it's weird, but maybe it's worth a try if, like me, you sleep with your mouth open and wake up feeling as dehydrated as a desert. Welcome to Sunday. I'll just share with you quickly my outdoor outfit of the week, starting with my redback steel toe cap elastic sided boots with my mongrel socks, which I'm wearing with my green hip gardening shorts and my Topiary Cooler Sun long sleeve top. And this week I'm largely accessorising with my paisley headscarf from eBay, my bionic gardening gloves, and lastly, since I'm wearing shorts, my Cancer Council insect repellent sunscreen with SPF 50 because sun and horseflies. Can you hear that frog? It's amazing how many frogs you can hear, and yet I've more or less never actually seen one. You find me this morning stood in front of one of the main jobs I'd like to accomplish this morning, which is this bay tree behind me. Let me show you. In the UK I had a bay tree which lived in a pot in my garden room, and pot included it was about the height of my mid-thigh. And then we moved here and found that we had this bay tree, which is literally taller than my house. It was a great big shambles, and I have tried to train it into a pyramid because I love topiary. I'm mad about topiary. I've always wanted some, never had some, so I thought, well, I'll try topiarising this bay tree. Apparently it's one of the types of plants that is amenable to being topiarised. So admittedly it's a very tall and thin pyramid, the shape of which I originally constructed by putting really long poles in the where I wanted the four corners to be, and then running them up, tying them at the top, and then basically cutting away till I had got my structure. Now I just do it by eye. You can probably see that it's going a bit wild, it's losing its shape, and so I just need to tart this up a bit, make it look a bit more pyramidal, and I do that using just basic tools. I don't have a hedge trimmer, I just use hand tools, but it will require the use of a ladder, possibly even going up on the roof, but we shall see. Well, there we are, 2 ladders and 2 cutting implements later, and I've added a bit more structure to my topiary. Hope you can see that. I'm just trying to allow the top to go a bit more pointy, and then I think that'll help to even more describe the pyramid shape. As I say, I know it's a sort of long and thin pyramid, but pyramid nevertheless. Very happy with that. Peter, bent on pleasure again. Good morning, welcome to Monday. Now I feel like I did give you fair warning that my life was pretty repetitive, and I really wasn't joking. So you find me back at the bottom of the fire break, about to go and process some more firewood. I thought I'd bring you up there with me this time. Last time we sort of went straight from here to there. But I'll take you along as I walk up. I'm going about halfway, although obviously I'll speed it up because the last thing you need is the sound of me huffing and puffing my way up the hill. But I thought I'd bring you with me. You can help me process some wood, and also, who knows, we might see something interesting. I did see something cool. Look at that. It's hard to zoom in, but this is a sapling eucalyptus tree. And this is a whole row of some sort of animal. Some sort of larva. They seem to have been munching away on the leaves. Got no idea what they are. But it just goes to show. Just spend like literally 5 minutes somewhere and keep your eyes open. You never know what you're gonna spot. There we are. Quick morning's work, just to keep things ticking over. Since we're up here, I thought I'd just give you a quick history lesson and future projection for this part of the property. This is the woodland behind the house, and so as a consequence I call it the backwoods. I tend to give different parts of the property nicknames. My understanding is that essentially this area used to be completely cleared. It was essentially farmland, but it was allowed to reseed and the trees are allowed to regrow, and at their own volition. So it wasn't done in any sort of way that was manageable. And so as a result, we've got hundreds of thousands of these hugely spindly eucalyptus trees. Just sticks, most of which died in the fire. No resilience to fire. Although a lot of them are sprouting up from the base. So the bit above ground has died, but the tree fundamentally has survived. Or they're slightly bigger trees, which now have this mad leaves going all the way up the trunk, giving them a sort of hairy look. It didn't used to look like this before the fire. There was none of this vegetation at eye level. It was just basically trunks and then the canopy above. And it had a sort of beauty of its own, but being unmanaged, it was always hugely unsatisfactory. And so, as a good friend of mine has suggested, and as I plan to do anyway, one of my main missions for up here is to thin out this wood. This density is just not good for the forest or diversity. Or bushfire risk management, actually. And because the wood's so thin and so young, I'm well within my rights to thin it. And also, I don't know if any of you saw the episode of Clarkson's Farm where he hired that machine which came and thinned his forest, and he got absolutely shitloads of wood out of it. And then went back into the forest and showed you how it looked afterwards. It still looked as beautiful. Thinning this wood isn't going to do the woodlands any harm whatsoever. In fact, not only will it benefit me in terms of this excellent extra firewood, it will also benefit the woodlands. There is another part of this forest that is slightly more thinned out, and I'll just head there now and show you how different it looks This is the section of woodlands where it's naturally slightly more thinned, and we're able to get much taller specimens of trees, and more light is able to get through. It has a totally different atmosphere up here. It's really nice. There is quite a lot of regrowth coming up, and I am going to have to manage that. These are seeds that have been basically fertilised by the fire coming through, and I don't want to move from one monoculture in terms of the eucalyptus trees to another, which are acacia trees. But I hope you can see that this more open woodland is more attractive in a way. This more open woodland is attractive in a different way, and is probably better for the trees that we have here. So maybe one day most of this backwoods will look more like this. Can you see that? Some sort of lizard. I think it's a goanna, baby one. Look, it's trying to climb the tree. I'm sorry it's shaky, but I've zoomed in. So it's not to disturb, well, so as to disturb it as little as possible. They're very, very good tree climbers. And I've seen monitor lizards that are about 5 or 6 times the size of that. And if I stood next to it, from the tip of the nose to the tip of its tail, it's probably this one on the tree. The length of my leg. Or maybe my arm. Just for a sense of scale.